Today's orientation is for students coming to the US for the fall 2026 intake. So we have three wonderful presenters joining us today. We'll be covering all the key information you need to prepare for your journey. So we will start talking about life in an ABC residential house. Then we'll cover living with an ABC host family, how ABC supports students throughout their experience, the US culture, what to pack, life at a boarding school, our holiday homestay option, medical insurance, and many other tips and important topics related to our stay in the US. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to write them on the chat box. We have a dedicated Q&A section at the end of the presentation. And as I mentioned before, we'll begin with our ABC residential house. Our first presenter is Sherry. Sherry, thank you so much for being here with us today. I'll hand it over to you and just let me know when you're ready to pass to the next slide and I'll do so.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sherry, and I look after ABC's residential house programs. I know many of you have not lived in a residential house or maybe don't know what a residential house is like. So, in this part of today's presentation, I will walk you through exactly what the daily life looks like in an ABC residential house which is, many of you will be living this year. So I know, you're leaving home and you're moving to another country, and it can feel very overwhelming. So, and because I experienced that myself in high school, I was an international student. I know it could be fun and it could also be challenging. So my goal for the next few minutes is that I want this to feel less like an unknown to more like, this is your home away from home. And I want you to know, like, wherever you are, we will be here right with you to help you. Andrea, can you go to the next slide? So first, let me, no, the one before. Can you go back? Yeah, okay. So first, let me clear up what an ABC residential house actually is, because it's a little different from a homestay and it's also different from a boarding school dorm. So an ABC residential house is a residence that ABC owns and operates ourselves. We have a small group of students, usually 6 to 8, live together, and then they're cared for every day by a dedicated house parents. So it's your own home. We have multiple residential houses, but they're run to one consistent standard. And there are three things that will make it work. First, as I mentioned, it's ABC run, so the standards are the same in every house. And second, you will have your house parents. They're adults who are on site with you. They live with you. They cook for you. They keep things running, and they support you. And then our team and third is the structure and safety. We have very clear routines and curfews and supervisions, and we have clear rules that will keep the house safe and then keep it a good place to stay when you're studying. So we really treat it as like everyone lives in there as a family. If you treat the house as your home, and your house parents as a family, they will also treat you like a family. So there are three keys to a great year is being, just respectful and appreciative and communicative, with in the house with your house parents, and with, other students that are living in the residential house. Andrea? Okay. So let's talk about your house parents because they are your first point of contact for your everyday life. So the most important habit that you can build and you should build is to always keep your house parents in the loop. Tell them when your schedule changes, where you're going, and also, how you're doing, honestly, to them. And so a few specifics, like if you feel sick, you feel unwell, you should tell them right away. They'll help you arrange and then, document any medical appointments. And then they will take you to the health center or like a hospital if needed. And if you're feeling, just, homesick or really stressed, you can also talk to them. You can reach out to your house parents, you can reach out to your local coordinator, you can reach out to your counselor, or you can come to me as well. So you're never on your own when you get here. And then if you have anything urgent, you can reach ABC us at any time. We have our urgent phone number here. So the tip running through all of this is just, respectful communication, whether it's in person or you can also, text your house parents. You can use social media to connect with your house parents. So your communication will really help to keep the house running smoothly and really help the house parents to supervise you and manage you. Uh, Andrea, can we go to the next slide? Okay. So here is the rhythm. I think someone says they can't see the slides, but everyone else can see the slides, I guess. I can see the slides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please keep going.
Okay,
Can you
good.
see?
Okay, thank you. So here is the rhythm of a normal day. You go to school. When you come home, the house parents will have dinner ready for you. Uh, And then we have our quiet study hours and quiet hours. So these hours may vary in different houses. Um, because some of the students might want to go to bed early, some students go to bed late. In some houses the study hours might be longer, but typically from 9 to 10 each evening is your quiet study hour. So that's the time for you to do homework and your independent study. Some of the houses we have like the students doing homework together in the living room, and some of them wants to do it independently in their room. It's really up to you, but we want you to keep with your noise keep to a minimum so everyone can, focus and use this time to get some work done. And then typically from 10 at night until 7 in the morning are quiet hours in the house. It's the rest time for the whole house. So you want to use, if you still want to like listen to music and you have some works that you haven't finished, you want to use headphones. You want to keep your voice down to a minimum. Uh, you want to, when you walk and then you close doors, you want to keep it, quiet. So a and it's just like the rules that we have to help you to focus on studying and then to rest well in the house. And then the golden rules for going out is you should always ask first, ask your house parents, get their approval before you head out, especially like for anything late or overnight. We typically don't want you to like leave the house when it's like late. And then if you want to like sleep over at a friend's house, you need to have um their parents contact our house parents, and you need to follow our curfew. So you always need to like get home before the curfew, and make sure the house parents always know like if you're not home where you are. So we'll that helps to keep you safe. And then two more quick things is be on time for school every single day. That's important for you, and then it will also show on your school performance, which is important for your college when you apply. And stay safe after dark. We never want you to walk alone when it's like cold outside. So always contact your house parents, coordinate for like rides, or you can use your classmates like carpools, but always like communicate with your house parents. Some of you might be able to like walk to school because it's close, but do not walk when it's like really cold and dark outside. So it keeps you safe. Um, Next slide, please, Andrea. Can you go back to the last slide?
Yeah, I think it was. Second. Oops. This one?
Okay, yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. So let's talk about food because everyone wants to know about the food in the house. So your dinner is freshly cooked and provided by our house parents. It's usually like a sit down family style meal. They will also ask, like we know like you might be missing your food from home, so you can also bring up to your house parents if you're missing your home food, and then I think they will make an effort to try to like cook it for you. And then breakfast and lunch are self-serve. Most of you will have lunch at school. For breakfast, you will make your own from what's in the fridge, or there if there's like leftover, then if they're offered. We don't require house parents to cook breakfast, but some of them will cook some like eggs and proteins for you. Um, it's in America, it's like normal to eat like, a bagel, or toast for breakfast. But if you want something else, you can communicate with the house parents, and if they can accommodate you, they'll do it for you. And then let's little like kitchen etiquette. So you should always like label your own food. So you should never take someone else's food that they bought themselves without asking. Um, and then, there are kitchen appliances that you should use them safely and with permission. So I suggest that you use like, the stoves and ovens with house parents there to help you. So just in case like there's no like safety hazard in the kitchen in our house. And that's like important. Also another important thing to keep our house safe. Next slide, please, Andrea. Okay, thank you. So two practical systems to know. First is shopping. We have planned weekly grocery and personal items trip. The house parents will go grocery shopping. You're welcome to go with them. Some of the house that they have, set time, set date for weekly grocery shopping. One house we had last year, they have a Walmart Wednesday, and it could be like a different date in any other house. So the house parents will help coordinate. And since it's supervised by your house parents, the house parents will take you and you will go with them. So you should plan your list ahead of time. And then when you're buying your personal items, you should bring your own funds. You're responsible for paying for your personal items. If you need something, if you need to take an extra trip, if it's urgent, if it's something that you really need, just ask your house parents in advance. And please don't go to the store that's far if you need like commercial vehicle. Don't go there by yourself on your own without approval from your house parents. If you need any, necessary items, please just ask the house parents. They could get it for you, or they can take you on the trip to shoppings or grocery shoppings. And for transportation for you to get around, Please coordinate pickups with your house parents. Like sometimes you might have clubs, you might have sports, you might have like events at school. You are encouraged to go to all those. But coordinate with your house parents. You can, carpooling with other students' families, as long as like you have your house parents' approval ahead of time, or you can use, public transportation when it's available and safe, and then also let your house parents know and have them approve it before you take public transportation. And then, as I've mentioned before, I want to reiterate that if it's cold or dark um, weather, and then if the weather is bad, do not walk. Always arrange a ride with your house parents, and then they will try their best to accommodate you, and then not let you wait. And then you can also find like carpooling. So do not walk. And say it again in the cold or dark. Um, and next slide, please, Andrea. So yeah, cleanness and shared spaces. Because you are sharing a home, everyone shares some responsibilities for keeping it clean and comfortable. A few simple habits to remember is like keep your bedroom clean and organized. You're part of the bedroom. And then keep it, free of food and clutter. And clean up right after you use the kitchen or the bathrooms or the common rooms. And then you want to dispose your trash properly. And then we will have trash and recycling, and then you should join the recycling if it's offered in the house. You will also share like cleaning duties in the common areas as assigned. So the house parents might, set up house chores for you to do. Um, the house parents will be responsible also for cleaning the house, but they will assign you some chores to do, just like you are at home. You clean dishes, you clean the floor, take out the trash. We have trash duties, things like that. And then the house parents will walk you through that when you're in the house. And then we really want you to treat the property with care. So you shouldn't move or modify any furnitures without, our permission or house parents' permission. And then you want to use like the washers and dryers, and also, microwaves and other appliances as instructed. And if anything breaks, you can report it to the house parents promptly. And then you should help conserve, energies in the house, water, electricity, and heat, turning heats off or turning like lights off when they're not in use. So it's just really to help keep like a cleanliness and then help reserve the house. Next slides, please, Andrea. Yes, so this part is the most important for us is your safety. When you arrive, walk around the house, learn where the emergency exits are, how the fire drill works, and then, always follow your house parents' directions if there's any emergencies. And then on visitors, so any guest that's coming to the house, you need to let your house parents know, and you need to let them, their approval in advance. You have to follow like visiting hours. And then if you have other students in your room, they your visitor of like um the opposite gender is not allowed in the bedrooms. And then if even if you're inviting another friend to the room, you need to get your roommate's permission. But we most likely will just allow you to hang out in the common area, which is also like nice and comfortable for you, not in the bedrooms. And please always ask before any day out or night out, especially overnight. If you want to do like a sleepover at your friend's place, as I've mentioned, always have their parents contact our house parents and get the permission before you do that. And other than that, you need to follow your curfew. So, unauthorized absence, can lead to like disciplinary actions from us too. So make sure you get home before your curfew. And also, look after your personal safety, as I have mentioned a couple of times today. Don't walk in the dark, coordinate transportations when it's like dark and cold outside. And above all, if anything feels unsafe and or makes you uncomfortable in the house, anything at all, you can tell your house parents and tell us immediately. And then we will always, take care of it for you. And we want to make sure you feel, safe and comfortable in the house. Um, Next slide, please, Andrea. Okay. So conduct and responsibilities. So we want to be direct about boundaries, and we want, you know, there is zero tolerance in our house for alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Anything of that is strictly prohibited. And the same goes for bullying or harassment, whether it's physical or psychological. It's never allowed in our house. So if we see serious violations of that, it can definitely lead to disciplinary actions, or you could be, removal from the program without any refund. So I tell you this not to like scare you, but so there are no surprises. These boundaries are very serious. So make sure you don't cross the line and do those at the house. And day-to-day conduct is mostly common sense. Keep the peace. Um, when it's quiet hours, use headphones for music and videos, and keep the noises low, during study and quiet hours. Um, and so the students in the same house, they could be coming from different countries, different cultures. So we want you to respect everyone's cultures and beliefs, and also, personal boundaries. It's inevitable that you might have disagreements. If any disagreements come up, you want to settle it like calmly, or you want to like bring it to your house parents or your coordinator. You don't want to have anything physical fight, any of that in the house. That's never allowed. And then on academics, and I'm sure you all know that you want to attend class, you want to arrive on time, you want to keep your work honest, no cheating or plagiarism, never allowed at school. If you're struggling with a subject, you can ask for help early. At school, you can also bring it up to your house parents to see if they have resources. So basically just, follow the house rules, and follow the laws. Remember you're responsible um, for your own personal items and your personal expenses. So we want to keep it, calm about the boundaries, but also direct about the boundaries. So that's why I bring it up right now. Next slide, please, Andrea. So, I'll leave you with four reminders that will carry you through the year. Firstly, stay open-minded, be curious about new customs and traditions, and you're welcome to share your own. And we encourage you to join, a lot of the activities, and then we encourage you to learn about other people's culture, and then please communicate honestly. So when you're not sure about the rules, just ask. It never hurts to ask. And then respectful communications is what we need the most in the house. And then the last one ties us all together is just, treat the house like your home. be respectful, appreciative, and communicative, as I mentioned. So all your house parents will treat you like family. So welcome to your ABC residential house. We can't wait to see you settle in. And then I'll leave it to Andreas. That's it from my part.
Thank you, Sherry. Joanne?
Good morning. Hi, everybody. My name is Joanne Rutenberg, and I'm just, give me 1 second here to get up my notes. I apologize for that. I just had it and they have seemed to have moved over. Okay. All right. I manage the host family placements across the country for ABC. I have worked in international education since 2009, and today I'm going to talk to you about living with an ABC host family. I may repeat some things that Sherry has gone over, but that's intentional because it's an important topic. In addition to my professional experience, I've hosted more than 15 international students in my own home over the years. Through those experiences, I've seen firsthand what helps students and host family build successful relationships that create meaningful cultural exchange experiences. One thing I've learned is that every student is different, even students from the same country. Each person has their own personality, interests, habits, expectation, and life experiences. The same is true for host families. Every host family is unique with its own traditions, schedules, communication styles, and household rules. Because of that, there's no such thing as a perfect host family or a typical host family. Your host family may look different from your family at home, and that's okay. In fact, it's part of the cultural experience. Today, we're going to go over a lot of important information, including cultural adjustment, transportation, meals, household expectation, communication, and tips for a successful experience with your host family. Some of the things may be different than what you're used to at home, but that's completely normal. My goal is to help you understand what to expect so you can arrive feeling confident, prepared, and excited for the experience ahead. Now, let's get started. Next slide, please. Host families have opened their homes because they want to share their life, culture, and their community with an international student. A host family is much more than a place to stay. It's an opportunity for cultural exchange and relationship building. A host family isn't a hotel or a bed and breakfast. While you're living there, you're becoming part of the household and sharing in family life. Host families come in many different forms. Some have young children, some have teenagers, and some have grown children who no longer live at home. They may be married couples, single parents, retirees, or individuals. Some have pets. Some may lead very busy and active lifestyles, while others enjoy a quieter pace of life. What they all have in common is the willingness to welcome you into their home and provide a safe and supportive environment. One of the things I love most about host family programs is that they create connections between people who might never have met otherwise. Many students tell us that some of their favorite memories come from simple everyday moments, sharing meals, celebrating holidays, attending family events, laughing together, or simply learning what daily life is like in another culture. Living with the host family gives you the opportunity that most visitors to the United States never have. Instead of simply seeing a community as a tourist, you've become a part of daily life. You experience local customs, traditions, and family life, while also sharing your own culture, experiences, and perspectives. As you prepare for this experience, it's important to remember every family is different. Your host family may not look or function like your family at home, and that's okay. They may have routines, expectations, meal schedules, communication styles, and house rules that differ. Remember that you're not expected to become a family member overnight, but you are expected to be a respectful guest. Many students find that their family becomes one of their most meaningful parts of their international experience and often maintain those relationships long after the program ends. Next slide. A successful host family experience is not something that's provided for you. It's something you help create. The more time, effort, and interest you invest in the relationship, the more rewarding the experience is likely for both you and your host family. I'd like to take a moment and think about something. Imagine that your family welcomed an international student into your home for an entire school year. How would you hope the student would behave? How would you want them to treat your parents, siblings, family traditions, and your family's home and belongings? Most of us would hope that the student would be respectful, considerate, communicative, appreciative, and willing to participate in host family life. Those are the same qualities your host family will appreciate about you. While you're living in their home, treat your family members the way you would want someone to treat your own family. Treat their home and belongings with the care and respect that you would want someone shown in your own home. If there's one piece of advice I can give you, it is this: communicate. The strongest host family relationships are built on communication. Ask questions, share your experiences, express concerns respectfully, and take time to get to know your host family. Don't assume your host family knows what you're thinking, and don't assume you know what they are thinking. The most successful host family experiences happen when both students and families approach the relationship with curiosity, respect, flexibility, and a willingness to learn from one another. The more you invest in the relationship, the more rewarding the experience is likely to be for everyone involved. And a few tips for success would be to be open-minded and flexible, communicate respectfully, participate in family life, follow house rules, show appreciation, and be patient. Building relationships takes time. Both you and your host family are adapting to a new situation. Next slide. Before you arrive in the United States, one of the most important things you can do is build a relationship with your host family. Reaching out before your departure helps everyone feel more comfortable and allows your host family to prepare for your arrival. Take time to introduce yourself, share information about your hobbies, interests, favorite activities, future goals, and why you chose to study in the United States. The more your host family knows about you, the easier it will be to find common interests and begin building a connection. Be sure your host family has your complete flight itinerary and travel details. Travel plans can change unexpectedly, and maintaining communication through your journey is extremely important. Send a quick message when you board your flight, during layovers or connections, and again after you've cleared customs and immigration and are on the way to meet them. If your flight is delayed, canceled, or if you miss a connection, notify your host family as soon as possible. While they will likely be monitoring your flight, weather, airport congestion, traffic, and airline schedule changes can create confusion. Regular updates help your host family know where you are, adjust pickup plans if necessary, and ensure a smooth arrival experience. You may also want to bring something that represents your culture or family. A favorite family recipe, photographs, a small souvenir, or information about local traditions can be great conversation starters. Most host families enjoy learning about their students' culture and appreciate opportunities to share experiences with one another. Remember, the host family relationship begins before you arrive at the front door. Strong communication before the travel helps establish trust, reduces stress for everyone involved, and creates a positive foundation for a successful and memorable exchange experience. Next slide. At ABC, your well-being, safety, and success are our top priorities. Every student in our homestay program is assigned a local coordinator, often called the LC. Your LC is one of the most important resources while you're in the U.S. They're there to help answer questions, provide guidance, support your adjustment, and assist in challenges as they arise. Your LC will schedule a one-on-one with you every month. These meetings are required and they're an important part of the program. Please be respectful of your coordinator's time by responding to messages and scheduling your check-in promptly. If your coordinator has to repeatedly call, text, or email to track you down, that takes time away from helping students who may need support. The more communicative and responsive you are, the better your coordinator can support you. We want to spend our time talking about your experiences, goals, and successes, not just playing phone tag. After each monthly check-in, your coordinator will complete a report that's shared with your educational agent. Your agent then shares updates with your parents at home so they can stay informed about your experience and progress. We also encourage you to take pictures throughout the year, whether it's a school event, a family gathering, a holiday celebration, a sporting event, a trip, or simply something you enjoyed during the month. Photos help tell the story of your exchange experience. Sharing those experiences allows us, your agent, and your parents to celebrate your accomplishments and memorable moments. For emergency, students and parents can contact ABC at any time using the emergency number provided on this slide. We're always available when urgent situations arise. Most importantly, don't wait until a small issue becomes a big problem. If you're struggling with something, have questions, or need support, reach out early. We're here to help you have a safe, successful, and rewarding exchange experience. Next slide. All right, let's talk about culture shock. First, I want you to know that if you experience culture shock, it doesn't mean something's wrong. In fact, it is completely normal and something most exchange students experience. When you first arrive, everything may feel exciting and new, but after a few weeks, you might start missing home, feeling frustrated by differences, or wondering why things are done so differently here. Those feelings are normal too. The good news is that culture shock doesn't last forever. As you learn more about your new environment, make friends, and develop routines, things usually become easier and more comfortable. When you're having a tough day, remember these strategies. Talk about your feelings, try new experiences with an open mind, spend time with friends, keep a regular routine, and do things that help you relax and feel happy. Most importantly, don't try to handle everything on your own. Your host family, local coordinator, teachers, counselors, and other students are all resources available to help you. Reaching out for support is a sign of strength, not weakness. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Transportation can look different for each student and depends on your host family, school, and community. Many students are driven to and from school by their host parents. If your host family provides transportation, be sure to communicate about schedules and be respectful of their time. Some students may ride a school bus or use public transportation, and if those options are available in their area. If you take a bus, make sure you know your route, schedule, and when to get on and off safely. If you live close to school, walking or biking may be your primary method of transportation. Always follow traffic laws and the safety guidelines provided by your host family and school. Carpooling may also be an option. Sometimes host families coordinate rides with other families or students who attend the same school or activities. Always make sure your host family is aware of and approves any carpool arrangements. Most importantly, transportation arrangements vary from family to family, so be flexible and communicate openly. If you have questions or concerns about transportation, talk with your host family, local coordinator, or school staff. Next slide. Every host family is different, and one of the most important parts of a successful exchange experience is understanding and respecting your host family's expectations. Shortly after you arrive, take time to review household rules together. This conversation helps ensure that everyone understands the rules and gives you the opportunity to ask questions from the beginning. It's important to remember that you're expected to follow your host family rules, which may be different from the rules you had at home. Some families may be stricter, while others may be more relaxed. In most cases, these expectations are in place because your host parents care about your safety and understand their community and local culture. As an exchange student, being open-minded and embracing a new family lifestyle. Living with a host family offers a unique opportunity to learn about different traditions, routines, and perspectives. Your host family may have expectations regarding curfews, guests, household chores, meals, and technology use. Curfews help ensure your safety and allow your host parent to know where you are. Most American families also expect everyone in the household to contribute by helping with chores and cleaning up after themselves. Following these expectations demonstrates maturity, responsibility, and respect for the household. It's also important to understand that students are required to follow program rules and local, state, and federal laws. Please review the student handbook carefully and refer to it throughout your program. Respect is essential. Treat your host parents, siblings, relatives, family, pets with kindness, courtesy, and consideration. Small acts of respect go a long way in building a positive relationship within the family. Alcohol consumption by anyone under the age of 21 is against U.S. law. In addition, smoking, vaping, e-cigarettes, tobacco products, and recreational drugs are prohibited on the program, regardless of local customs or personal habits. These rules exist to protect your health, safety, and legal status while participating in the program. Violating program rules or breaking the law can result in serious consequences, including disciplinary action, loss of program privileges, school consequences, removal from a host family, or dismissal from the program. Finally, if you don't understand a rule or expectation, ask questions. Open and honest communication is the best way to avoid misunderstandings and build a strong relationship with your host family. Your host family wants you to have a safe, successful, and memorable experience, and following household and program expectations is an important part of making that happen. Next slide. Okay, the fun part. Food is often one of the most exciting parts of living in a new country, and it's also a great way to learn about American culture. Your host family will provide 3 meals each day. While every family is different, many American families keep meals fairly simple and practical, especially on busy school and work days. Breakfast is often a quick meal before school. You might see foods like yogurt, cereal, toast, fruit, oatmeal, or breakfast bars. Many students and families eat breakfast on the go as they head out the door. Lunch is typically eaten at school. Some students purchase lunch in the cafeteria, while others bring a lunch from home or leftovers from a previous meal. Keep in mind that school lunches are the student's responsibility to purchase. Dinner is often the main meal of the day and maybe one of the few times everyone sits down together. However, many families have busy schedules with sports, activities, and work commitments, so some evenings may include quick meals, takeout, or fast food. You may notice some differences from what you're used to at home. American portion sizes are often larger than in many other countries. Dinner may be served earlier or later than you're accustomed to, depending on your family's schedule. Some families eat as early as 5:30 or 6 p.m., while others eat later due to activities and work schedules. One of the best parts of your exchange experience is trying new foods. Be open-minded and willing to try foods that may be unfamiliar to you. You might have the opportunity to experience American foods such as hamburgers, hot dogs, barbecue, macaroni and cheese, pizza, tacos, Thanksgiving foods, regional specialties, and of course, a variety of different snacks and desserts. We encourage you to give unfamiliar foods a chance. You may discover a new favorite. However, if there's something you truly don't like, it's okay to politely decline. Instead of saying, I don't like that, try something like, thank you for offering it. I'd like to try a small portion first, or thank you, but I'm not accustomed to that food. Being respectful and appreciative goes a long way. Remember that your host family has put time and effort into preparing or providing meals for you. Even if the food is unfamiliar, showing gratitude and a willingness to try new things demonstrates respect for your host family's hospitality. Sharing meals is about more than just food. It's an opportunity to spend time with your host family, learn about their traditions, and share your own culture. If you have dietary restrictions, allergies, or foods that you absolutely can't eat, communicate openly with your host family early on so they can help accommodate your needs. Is there anyone that is looking forward to any particular American food you're looking forward to trying? Maybe we can answer that later at the Q&A, but there's lots of great foods. Next slide. Before leaving the US, it's very important to make sure you have all your required documents organized and easily accessible. Be sure to bring your passport that is valid for at least 1 year beyond your arrival date, along with your visa payment documentation, and your I-20 or DS-219 if anyone is J1. You should also bring a copy of your SEVIS I-901 payment receipt. Academically, you should have copies of your most recent school transcripts and any records that may be needed by your school. For health and safety purposes, bring your immunization records, vaccination records, and a routine physical examination report in English. If available, having these documents readily available can make school registration and medical appointments much easier. You should also carry important contact information, including your school host family, ABC contact, and the program emergency number. Keep a printed copy with you, even if the information is stored on your phone. Bring several passport-style ID photos as a backup, along with your travel itinerary and flight information. One of the best things you can do is create an electronic backups of all important documents. Store copies securely in a cloud, email account, or another secure location so you can access them if anything is lost or misplaced. Finally, remember that the I-94 arrival record is now issued electronically. After arriving in the U.S., you can access it online if needed. A good rule of thumb is if the document is important enough to travel with, it's important enough to have both a paper copy and electronic backup. Pro tip, keep all these documents in your carry-on bag, not your checked-in bag, so they remain with you throughout your journey. Next slide. In addition to your important documents, there are a few other things you want to prepare before leaving for the US. Let's start with money. We do not recommend carrying large amounts of cash while traveling. Instead, plan only what you need for your trip and ensure you have access to an international debit or bank card that can be used to withdraw money when needed. As a general guideline, families should plan to provide approximately $300 per month in spending money, although actual expenses may vary depending on your activities and your personal spending habits. In addition, students should have access to a credit or debit card for expenses that can't be paid with cash, such as school uniforms, medical insurance copays and deductibles, memberships, online purchases, and other services that may require electronic payment. If you plan to use a debit or credit card abroad, make sure your parents contact that bank before you travel so your card can be used internationally without interruption. It's also important to understand that students under the age of 18 generally can't open a U.S. bank account without a cosigner. Due to banking legal and tax considerations, neither ABC staff nor host family members may serve as cosigners on your student bank accounts. If you have questions about managing money, please speak with us before traveling. Another important requirement is your cell phone. ABC requires all students to maintain a working U.S. phone number throughout their program. Affordable plans are available, and your coordinator or host family can help you identify options that work best in your area. Monthly costs typically range from $50 to $75, depending on the plan and carrier. One important guideline, students should have their own cell phone plan and number. Please, please, please do not join your host family's phone plan. Having your own plan helps ensure that your phone service and your number remain consistent throughout your exchange program. Your phone is an important tool for staying in touch with your host family, coordinator, and program staff, so make sure it remains active and that you can be reached at all times. If you're bringing toiletries in your carry-on bag, remember the TSA 311 rule. Liquids, gels, and creams must be in containers that are 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters or smaller. All containers must fit inside one clear quart-size resealable plastic bag. If you're unsure whether an item should go in your carry-on or your checked luggage, check with your airline before traveling. Most importantly, don't overpack. You will likely acquire new items during your exchange year and may need room for souvenirs when you return home. For school, bring any supplies you regularly use and prefer, such as an electronic dictionary, if allowed by your school. But keep in mind that notebooks, pens, and other basic supplies are readily available in the U.S. Pack appropriate clothing for the season and location where you'll be living. Include everyday clothing, outerwear, formal wear for special events, undergarments, and socks. If you're coming from a warmer climate and will be living in an area with cold winters, don't worry about bringing an entire winter wardrobe. Many students choose to purchase heavier winter clothing after arrival once they know what they need and what is appropriate for the local climate. Don't forget daily toiletries such as shampoo, toothpaste, contact lens supplies, and any personal products you use regularly. While most common toiletries can be purchased in the United States, you may want to bring a supply of any specialty products or brands that are difficult to find outside your home country. If you take medications, bring an adequate supply if permitted and discuss your needs with your host family. Some host families, especially those with young children, may ask that medications be stored in a secure location. Finally, don't forget your electronics. Bring your laptop, tablet, headphones, charging cables, adapters, converters, and any other devices you need for school and communication. The goal is to pack smart, not pack everything. Focus on essential items, important documents, and things that may be difficult to replace or purchase in the United States. Many everyday items can easily be purchased after you arrived. Next slide, please, and we will turn the presentation over to Thomas.
Yes, thank you for that, Joanne. And I know many of you might be going to a boarding school. What's important to say in the beginning is that every boarding school is different, right? So it's very difficult to have specific information about the boarding school you are going to. But in general terms, we will cover some general points that will apply to all boarding schools. And remember, you will be, if you haven't already, receive a information welcome pack from the specific boarding school that you will be attending. That includes much more than what I will be covering here, but the most important stuff. And if we start from the top, arrival and transportation information, that's of course very important. You will be given that to your agent and to us, and we will also submit that to the school. But from the school side, they will also inform you of which airport and what arrival times they are covering by with the inclusive transfer service. So each boarding school will provide free transportation, but only if you go to the designated airport and if you can arrive within the time schedule that they have been given. The other important part is, of course, class and course registrations. Now, many of you might have already done this. Some schools start this process very early. Some do it like most day schools upon the first couple of days when you attend school. But anyways, this should be also covered in the welcome or information pack. If you are looking to attend a specific sport, you might know or you might not know if they are holding tryouts. If it's a school that is very competitive, they might be holding tryouts. And then those dates are usually a couple of days or even weeks before the actual school date starts. So in that case, and if that's important to you, then make sure that you check that out and that you plan your travel accordingly. It's also very important that you check with the school if accommodation is available that early on. If not, and I will also be covering this at the end of these boarding slides, we, ABC Education Group, we do offer what we call holiday homestay, or just homestay at any point throughout the year. So I will be getting into a little bit more about the details of what that is and how we can help out if, for instance, you need to arrive 2-3 weeks before because you want to be part of a specific tryout for a sport. The other thing is, of course, school holidays. Boarding schools are a bit different from day schools in that sometimes they do close. And when school close, also the accommodation, the dorm close. Now, again, this is different from school to school, and the information that we provide to you through your specific agent should already have indicated this. But if it is anything that is, not on your radar, make sure that you talk to your specific agent, and then we will handle that. The big holidays that most schools observe in terms of closing are the fall break that usually happens together with the Thanksgiving, the Christmas break or winter holiday, as well as a week or maybe even 2 weeks for spring break. Now, again, some schools, even though that the school closes down, will still operate the boarding or the dorms. But if you are attending a school that don't, then you are required to either travel, go with a friend, come back home during the school breaks, or, as I said earlier, we can actually provide a homestay experience for you during that school break. The other part that is very common and important to look at is activities as well as trips that are arranged by the school throughout the school year. If you are attending as a senior for grade 12, there might be a senior year trip. Very often, again, this cost is included in the price that you've already paid. And if you, for any reason, don't have that included, some schools do separate that, then you also always have an option. They don't make it mandatory for all students, but instead you can do something else. But those are, like I would say, the most common overall points that everyone should look at and know before you travel. And you can also start looking at that already now, I would advise. Okay, Andrea, we can jump over to the next point. So what are the typical living arrangements for a boarding school? Well, when it comes to meals, someone said that earlier in this presentation, meals are extremely important. We all love to eat and we all like to eat good food. One big benefit with boarding schools in general is that the food is very, very good, and there's often a lot of different options to choose from. But it works like this. Breakfast is usually served before start of classes. During weekends, and I'm going to say this already now, most boarding schools don't serve breakfast. Instead, they serve a brunch style meal. And that is because 99% of all the students, they like to sleep in during the weekends, so no one shows up for breakfast. So instead, they serve it a little bit later and they combine it so that you have a brunch style. Otherwise, a lunch is served midday. And as I said before, there's often multiple options to choose from. Fish, meat, vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, whatever your choice or preference is, boarding schools can accommodate that because it's often a professional meal service company that caters for all the food in the boarding schools. The dinners are served in the evening, and that is usually followed by some time for social activities or study time. Now, since most students end school time, class time around 3 p.m., you then move over to activities, sports, clubs, all of that. Dinner is usually served between the hours of 5 to 7 in general. Again, it might be specific for the school that you are attending. Snacks is usually, there is usually a cafeteria or the dining hall is open, where you can also purchase snacks, chips, candy, fruits, smoothies, whatever, right? So there's a lot to choose from. And as I said, since meals are handled by professionals, there's all kinds of choices that you can have. And if you have any dietary restrictions or needs, then those can also be catered for. And I'm sure that in the process of picking school, we have also been covering this, especially by your great agents that are helping you with that. Next slide, please, Andrea. So, rules and expectations. This doesn't really differ that much from any other program, other than the fact that you're living on the school campus, right? So there's more freedom in what to do when you're on campus because you're in a safe, confined space. So there's a little bit more wiggle room in what you can do at nighttime, as long as you are on school campus. But there will be a curfew, and that needs to be respected. If students want to go outside of campus to meet with local students, then they have to inform, in this case, the dorm parents, right? And as long as the dorm parents know where you are going, whom you're seeing, and when you're supposed to be back, it's usually okay, as long as you respect those curfews and arrangements. Study hours are designed times for quiet study. Now, if you don't have anything to study at that moment, you can be doing whatever you want, as long as you don't bother other students. But again, one of the benefits with boarding schools is that you have access to everything that the school has on campus at all times. So you might want to go and play basketball, you might want to jump in the pool, whatever your school has available, you can do during those times as well. Of course, it is mandatory to attend all classes, meals, and other scheduled activities. Even if you're not hungry, you should be there. Again, if you're not feeling well, you should just let your dorm parents know. Most schools also have medical staff on campus or in close cooperation, so it's easy to get any extra attention or care if that is needed. When it comes to behavior, follow the guidelines and rules, and of course, be respectful to other students, staff, and the property. Now, many of you who are attending a boarding school, you have seen that there is either an emergency deposit or just a deposit that's paid that is refundable. Now, that amount is refundable as long as you don't break anything on purpose. Now, any accident can happen, and if it's an accident that is not meant to be, then no one is going to take money from you. But you know, those deposits are made to make sure that students do take care of computers, iPads, their dorm room, TVs, whatever it might be that are available to you. Dress code, again, is very individual depending on school to school. If you are attending a Catholic school or a Christian school, they might have very strict uniform policy. If you're attending a non-religious school, they might have a more relaxed uniform policy. But in general, it is smart to dress respectfully, not to have anything with political messages, and to make sure that you're not too revealing. And I'm going to let anyone think about that one by themselves. When it comes to technology use, you are allowed to use your own phones, iPads, and computers, but some schools will have restrictions on when you can use them. For instance, some boarding schools, they prefer to shut off the Wi-Fi after a certain hour to make sure that students are not staying up online all night chatting and Zooming with their friends in their home country. And that becomes more tricky, of course, if there's a big time difference. Okay, we can move over to the next slide. So to look at a typical schedule of a day, we have chosen to pick the schedule for Washington Academy in Maine, and this is from last year. So here you can see on the left-hand side column, breakfast is served before period 1 starts. And for this specific school, it is maybe a 100-meter walk for the boys to go to the dining hall. And for the girls, it's a 10-meter walk. So they can literally go straight out of bed and straight down to the dining hall at this school. And then period 1 starts with classes. Then there's followed by a short break. Period 2 starts before lunch, and then you will have a short lunch. So myself, I'm Swedish. So for me, half an hour lunch is a very short lunch, but that's the way that most schools in the US do it. So no time to sit around and chat and socialize, but you have to actually eat during this time. before period 3 starts, followed by period 4. And as I said, most schools will end classes somewhere around 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. And that's very different from what we might be used to in Europe or Latin America or Southeast Asia or other parts of Asia where you attend school for longer. But here is when you start your afternoon or after school activities. So sports, drama, music, clubs, whatever your flavor is, whatever you choose to attend and be part of, that's the time for when you do that. And after that is dinner time. Here it is very specific, but most schools have a sort of a more flexible time period where you can come and go and eat whenever you want between those time slots. After dinner is usually followed by free time. Some schools will have study hour directly after dinner and then free time, or you can have free time and then you have study hour or curfew. And curfew here doesn't mean that students need to go to bed directly at 8 p.m. It's just that they need to be in the dorms. And remember, the dorms are not just a room. It's a common area where you have pool tables, billiards, Xboxes, a kitchen, whatever, right? Where students hang out and spend time with their friends. And then usually around 9:30 to 10 p.m. on weekdays, most schools will start preparation for bedtime. And again, that doesn't mean you have to sleep at 10 or 10:30 p.m., but it means you have to be in your room. You can still study or do whatever you want in your room, but you need to be in your room and it needs to be quiet. And that's a very typical day, weekday at a boarding school. Okay, we can jump over to the next slide. So, as I mentioned before, if you for any reason need accommodation during either a school break, before school, or let's say after school in the summer, because you want to stay and do certain things or whatever it might be, we can accommodate that by finding you a host family. And this is actually, in my experience, a very good extra experience for students attending boarding schools, because you might have in your process been weighing, should I be going to a day school and stay with a host family, or should I go to a boarding school? And with this program, you can actually experience both. So instead of going home over one of the school breaks, or go with a friend, or go on a trip, you can of course always do that, but instead you might want to take Thanksgiving and the fall break in a host family. That could be a great experience. So we have this available, and all you need to do is let us know that this is something that you would be considering. And the best is, of course, you reach out to your agent, your provider, and say that we would be interested in looking at an alternative for homestay during Thanksgiving or spring break, or if that is a need. And we have a very large boarding school network. We have that too, but a homestay network. And we can actually provide this service in most states. What we do appreciate is if anyone who is interested in this will let us know in ample time before, so that we can set up a good homestay experience for that short period of time. And also, I want to mention that this is something that is very driven by the host families as well. In fact, there's a lot of host families that want to try to host a international student, and doing that during a shorter, 2-3 days or a week is much more easy also for them, right? And in these situations, we see that the host families are a lot more engaging because they are very eager of showing, their little city and what they as a family do during these short holidays. So that's an option, and I wanted to mention that to everyone. And with that, I think that concludes sort of the boarding school part of this presentation. Of course, everything can be applied also to you guys who are going to a boarding school. But remember, it's very specific. Each school will have different rules and regulations and where you should arrive, how you should arrive, and all of those things, right? But all in all, this is a very general overview of that. Thank you.
Joanne,
And now we
you're
will
mute.
hand over again to Joanne to go through the medical insurance. And before you start there, Joanne, I just want to say that if you have specific questions about the insurance, you're more than welcome to reach out to your agents and to us here at the Q&A session that we will have very shortly. But I also want to say that in many cases, the schools, both boarding schools as well as day schools, they are very adamant on either you sign up for their insurance or you sign up for the insurance that ABC provides. And there are many benefits with that. The biggest one, I would say, for host family students is that the local coordinators, Joanne and everyone that works with Joanne in her team on the US side, they know this service provider and what to do, what not to do, what to think about, if there is a claim for some damage that have happened. So there is a lot of benefits with this. So I just wanted to say that on the get-go. And now I will hand over to Joanne.
Thank you. We're almost done. Just a couple of slides on medical insurance and then the Q&A. So I appreciate everybody hanging in there. This isn't as exciting as food, but it's equally as important. With the medical insurance, all students participating with ABC will have student medical insurance coverage, either through their boarding program or through an insurance plan managed by ABC. So the insurance can't be activated until your flight has been booked and your arrival date has been confirmed. So once we receive that information, your student medical insurance will be purchased and activated prior to your departure, ensuring that the coverage is in place when you arrive in the US. A few days before your departure, you'll receive an electronic copy of your medical insurance plan, coverage details, your insurance card, and instructions on how to use your insurance while in the United States. Be sure to keep these documents accessible, as you may need them if you require medical care during the program. It's also really important to note that pre-existing medical conditions are typically not covered under the student medical insurance plan. If you have a medical insurance that existed before you arrived in the United States, such as ADHD, diabetes, asthma, ongoing mental health treatment, or any other chronic condition, you should carefully review your insurance coverage and discuss any questions with your family before departure. If you take prescription medicine, be sure to have an adequate supply with you and inform your host family of any medications you're taking. Some medications that are available in your home country may not be available in the United States, or they may require a prescription from a US physician. Obtaining certain medications after arrival can be difficult, expensive, and require additional medical appointments. We also strongly recommend that you complete routine medical, dental, and vision appointments before departing for the US. Dental care is generally not covered by student medical insurance unless it's related to a covered accident or emergency. Routine dental cleanings, checkups, orthodontic care, eye exams, vaccinations, sports physical, and other preventative services are typically the responsibility of the student and the family. Taking care of these appointments before you leave can help prevent unexpected expenses and ensure a smoother transition to life in the US. Next slide. After you receive your insurance card, take a few minutes to register your account online. You'll need information from your insurance card, including your member ID number. Once you've created the account, you'll be able to view your digital insurance card, review your coverage information, track claims, and access important resources related to your health plan. I strongly recommend downloading the United Healthcare app to your phone. Having your insurance card available electronically can be very helpful if you need medical care and don't have the physical card with you. Be sure to save your username and password to a secure location so you can use it, easily access it if needed. Creating your account before you need medical care will save you time and help ensure you understand how your insurance works before an illness or injury occurs. Your local coordinator will review medical insurance coverage with you and explain what you need to know about using your insurance while in the United States. They'll also help you understand which doctors, clinics, medical facilities should be used in your area. In addition, your host family will receive information about your insurance coverage so they can assist you if medical care is needed. If you ever have questions about your insurance, medical care, or where to go for treatment, don't guess. Contact your local coordinator, host family, ABC staff, and there's even an 800 number on the back of your card. Student insurance is provided by United Healthcare, as I mentioned. So be sure to keep a copy of your insurance card with you at all times, either in your wallet or your phone. There are a few important key things to understand about your coverage. Your plan has a $250 deductible for each illness or injury. This means that you're responsible for the first $250 of covered medical expenses before the insurance begins paying benefits. For emergency room visits, there is a $500 deductible, which is in addition to the regular policy deductible. Because emergency rooms are designated for serious or life-threatening situations, they should only be used when truly necessary. If you need care for a non-emergency illness or injury, urgent care is often a better option. The copay for urgent care per visit is $50. Walk-in clinics, which are commonly found inside pharmacies or retail stores, have a $20 copayment and can be convenient for minor illnesses. One of the best features of this insurance plan is Teladoc. So Teladoc allows you to connect with a licensed physician virtually, often within minutes from your home, school, or while traveling. Even better, Teladoc visits are not subject to your deductible. They don't require a copay, making them a convenient and cost-effective first step for any common health concerns. Teladoc doctors can help with common conditions such as cold, flu symptoms, respiratory infections, allergies, bronchitis, sinus infections, and many skin-related issues. When you're not sure where to seek care, start by speaking with your host family, school nurse, coordinator, or staff, program staff. They can help you determine the most appropriate option for your situation. So next slide, please. Sorry. These next couple of slides are just frequently asked questions. I think we have to go to the next one. I might have forgotten to tell you to move ahead. I apologize for that. So I'll just kind of quickly go over these, but I don't want to go word by word. You'll get a copy of this presentation. What is the medical provider? Who is the preferred provider network? What is in-network versus out-of-network? Do I have a plan? Do I have to pay at the time of my appointment? What is a copay or coinsurance? What is the deductible? And does my plan have one? So those are some of the questions. We've got a couple more frequently asked questions on the next slide. What is the insurance intended to cover? So we kind of went over this. The policy is only intended to cover you for eligible illnesses or injury which occurred during your program. The policy does not cover any coverage for routines such as annual gynecological visits, school or sports physicals, immunizations, and pre-existing conditions. Do I need my insurance card? We talked about how important that is. It's also really important to have your credit card with you when you go to these facilities, as they'll want payment. Maybe one of the biggest pains for host families is when students go to the doctor or an emergency room, they don't have their credit card or debit card, and then all of a sudden they're receiving a bill for a service that the student had, and you might have like already gone back to your home country. So you can imagine how possible that is to kind of get resolved, or just not really a fun thing that you want to be doing after your program. You want to be talking about how like amazing it was not dealing with an insurance claim. So it's really important. Have your card, have your credit card. I keep a copy in my wallet of my credit card, so I would recommend everybody also do that. And so again, do I need my insurance card? When should I go to urgent care versus walk-in? I'm going to recommend again, like your first thing is to look at Teladoc and see if you can go to a Teladoc. It's awesome if you don't have that in your own home country. You could call it every day, no deductible, no copayment. Then we also have, if there is a claim that needs to be filed, we've included a link to the claim form. And then we also have a link to the provider of our insurance, the agent that we work with. They have on their page really detailed information about the coverage. And I think that's it for medical insurance. And then
Great.
I think, are we going to go right back to you, Thomas, or you want me to handle this?
No,
last?
we'll move into Q&A because that's what I think most people are waiting for.
Okay.
Right, so I'm not skipping anything here. So let's move into that part of the presentation, and to make it, I don't know, to make the process a smooth one, it would be great if you can type your question, or you can raise your hand. I don't actually, yeah, it says raise hand there in the top section. If you raise your hand, we will address you, and then you can ask your question in that way as well. Andrea, do you want to start with any of the typed questions that have already been made? And you can read them out, and then we respond to them accordingly.
Yes. Yeah, so first of all, just to tell you all that we are sharing this presentation and the recording, okay? So no worries, we will share all the materials with you, including the brochure for the health insurance. We have one question for now. We just have one question. So anyone, if you have any other questions, please use this time to ask us anything you want. But we have a question. I'd like to know how to wash my clothes if I'm leaving at the school. So probably a boarding student.
I can answer that. For boarding schools, there are laundry rooms. So you have access to that at all times. I think the only time that is not available is after 10 p.m. Because it disturbs other rooms that are connected to the laundry room. Even though many students, I know from experience, they panic because, oh, I have a football game tomorrow and all my stuff are dirty and smell like crazy. So, so you always come up with, I need to wash this right now. But in boarding school, as well as in our residential house, we have access for you to do laundry. Honestly, at any time if it's an emergency. Otherwise, you should just plan it ahead a little bit, especially in the residential house, because there is 6 to 8 students, and it's usually 1 or 2 washers and a dryer. So there's the capacity issue. But it's quite easily accommodated in those 2 options. For homestay, just to bring that up, each family will have different rules, like they do laundry on a specific day, or the best approach in homestay is just ask. I have some dirty laundry now. When can I have the laundry done? If you have a nice host family that maybe do it for you, some will tell you that you have to do it yourself. Again, it depends on each family. But that's the answers I have to that question. And Joanne, you have to stop me if I'm incorrect when it comes to host family. But those are mainly the rules. Just ask the host family for when we do laundry, and if you can do it outside of those times, if it's a one-off, I'm sure that's okay as well.
Yeah, that's usually covered on the guidelines and expectations. And I would actually like to add to this a little bit, because personal hygiene is really important. And sometimes one of the complaints that we get from host families, so nothing personal, but in the US, we shower all the time, and maybe you don't have access to showers all the time, but we recommend that you shower daily, and especially after sports. use deodorant, make sure your cologne or your perfume is not like overly excessive. So, you know, everybody notices you coming into the room. And then just, you know, wash your clothes frequently. If you need an extra shirt, if you're wearing uniforms and you don't have any, like talk to Elsie, the host family, that you need, you know, another shirt, because wearing the same clothes over and over is gonna be noticeable to other people. So yeah, just a couple little things about hygiene, and most families are really flexible about laundry. Some might limit like the time of night you do it. If the laundry room is right next to their bedroom, they might say, okay, like after 8, you can't do laundry. So make sure you know and make sure you prepare. But otherwise, you know, you might even get a host family that folds your laundry if you're lucky, but not promising that.
Great. We have another question. Is it possible to go out with friends on weekends on boarding? I think that goes to homestay as well. So maybe you both can answer, and Sherry as well for a residential house. Who wants to go
I
first?
can go first. So the answer is yes, but you should always, so for a residential house, and I think homestay and boarding school too, you should always coordinate with your house parents, your host parents, before you go, and then and then let them know where you are, and then if you need them to, you know, pick you up and drop you off. So you can definitely hang out with your friends on the weekends, as long as you know you're in a safe environment, and then you coordinate with your house parents and gets approval before you do so.
And I'll add to that for homestay. I'll just say that, again, this is going to be on guidelines and expectations, and every family is going to be different. You might find like some host families might say you can only go out during the week if it's like a school event, or on the weekend. They want to make sure that you actually went to school that week. So if you called in sick Friday and didn't go to school, you might not be able to go to the pep rally that night. So it's important, I guess, just to make sure that you understand the guidelines and expectations as far as that goes. They'll have curfews, but you know, if they have, they're going to want to keep you safe. And I'll give you one example. I hosted a girl from Switzerland, and I live in Boston, and in the fall, it gets really dark in the afternoon, like 4:30, it's pitch black. And the school was only about, I don't know, it's walking distance. And she was just really didn't understand why I had to pick her up at school, because it was so dark. You know, and it's not a busy street, but it's just, you know, those things are going to be different in every part of the country. Other parts of the country, if you're in California, it's probably going to be nice and bright at 4:30. But you know, host families basically have the rules to keep you safe. I also know with the same student, she was, you know, she was allowed to, you know, take the train from Zurich at like 11:30 at night. That might not be something that your host family is comfortable with. So have those discussions before you're running out the door. And again, just being considerate and planning ahead is going to go a long way, whether you're boarding or residential house or with the host family.
Yeah, and for boarding, same thing there. You're absolutely allowed to do that if you let dorm parents know, and if it's you know, not too late, if it's not before a big test. There's always different scenarios, right? But everyone wants you to have a great time, and making connections is important. So no one will say no unless there is a reason for it. So yeah.
Okay, one more question. Can we extend health insurance ABC provides us? Maybe, I don't know if I understood correctly, an upgrade. I'm not sure if that's the question.
Yeah, I
But
think that's the
yeah.
question, because that comes to us quite often, if I can upgrade it. So Joanne, is that possible to upgrade it?
So, well, part of the program is that, you know, you're arriving maybe 3 days before the program starts, and then leaving within 5 days, because that's when the insurance does expire. I think it would have to be on a one-on-one situation, and it's not necessarily going to be the same rate as what we get during the full plan. So it's not something that I mean, if you know you're going to stay like 3 extra days, we can extend it. But if you're planning to travel for 2 more weeks, you probably should get insurance somewhere else, you know, but if it's just a couple more days, it's generally something we can do. Again, just planning ahead and letting us know ahead when you're going to depart. But there's also the program guidelines of leaving within 3 to 5 days. Although you know, yeah, one case by case.
One more question. Are we free to go out to town on our own during weekdays in boarding schools? Thomas, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Are we free to go out to the town on weekdays?
Weekdays, boarding schools.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Again, within reason, right? So as long as you tell the dorm parents, and if it's not too late, or you know, all depending on the scenario. But again, there's no like prevention of you guys doing things as long as it's in a safe setting. Usually, most schools will say that you can't go by yourself. You have to be like 2, 3 together or something like that. And you have to respect the curfew, and you have to have done your homework. You have to have, you know, been acting good, so that you don't have any you know, unresolved schoolwork, or been tardy or late or missed classes and stuff like that. Otherwise, okay.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions for now on the chat box. So if you all have any questions after, just let us know. Talk to your agent. The agent can always talk to us at ABC. And as I mentioned before, we'll be sharing the presentation, the brochure for the health insurance, and the recording as well. Anything else, Joanne, Thomas? I think Sherry left because she had another meeting, but anything else you'd like to add?
I just say congratulations to everybody. You're really brave to come on this journey, and you'll go through a lot of different changes from the beginning when we talked about culture shock to reverse culture shock when you go back home. So I'm excited for you, and we look forward to supporting you.
Thanks, Joanne. Thank you, Thomas, as well.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Great
And good luck.
presentation. Thank you, everyone, for your questions, and